Cameras click, someone laughs at the wrong time. I pause at the top of the marble steps leading into Whitmore Academy's main lobby, my fingers finding the smooth edge of the acceptance letter folded in my blazer pocket. Below me, the annual scholarship recognition ceremony buzzes with parents adjusting corsages and students smoothing their formal wear. The chandelier, a massive crystal monstrosity imported from Vienna in 1923, catches every nervous smile, every proud tear already threatening to spill over carefully applied mascara. The afternoon light streaming through the tall Gothic windows creates geometric patterns across the marble floor, highlighting the deep blue tablecloths adorned with white roses and gold-rimmed programs. Every detail screams prestige, from the hand-calligraphed place cards to the sterling silver water goblets that catch the light like small suns. But something is catastrophically wrong with the guest list I'm holding. My name appears twice, once under general admission in standard black ink, and once under full academic merit scholars in elegant gold script. The second entry has been crossed out with deliberate precision in blue ink, initialed EC in the margin. Emma Charlotte Chen, my sister. I don't move from the top of the stairs yet. Let them see me framed by the afternoon light streaming through the tall windows. Let Emma, somewhere in that crowd of designer dresses and tailored suits, feel the weight of what I'm about to undo. Let her wonder why I'm smiling like I know something she doesn't. Because I do. This time, I keep the proof. The memory surfaces sharp as shattered glass. 3 months ago, I died in a car accident on Highway 101, 2 days before high school graduation. The rain had been coming down in sheets, turning the asphalt into a mirror that reflected nothing but darkness. I'd been driving home from Emma's apartment near the university, my head still spinning from what I'd discovered there. Emma had been careless that night, leaving her laptop open while she went to take a phone call. I'd been looking for the charger when I saw it, my email account open in her browser, showing months of correspondence with the Whitmore admissions office, messages about my acceptance to the prestigious Creative Writing Conservatory, messages asking why Sophie Chen hadn't responded to her admission notification, messages explaining deadlines, scholarship details, orientation schedules, and Emma's responses sent from my account declining everything. I'd confronted her immediately. She'd laughed it off at first, then grown defensive, then finally broken down and confessed. She'd been intercepting my mail for weeks, hiding my acceptance letter while she worked behind the scenes to convince our parents that my rejection meant she should take the conservatory spot instead. Emma, who'd been waitlisted at 3 schools and rejected from her top choice, who'd spent years watching me win writing contests and teacher praise, finally saw her chance to step out of my shadow and into the spotlight. The betrayal had hit me like a physical blow. Not just the theft of my opportunity, but the months of comfort she'd offered while I mourned what I thought was my failure. The long nights she'd spent reassuring me that state school would be fine, that maybe competitive programs weren't meant for me, that sometimes taking a different path led to better destinations. All while she knew exactly where my acceptance letter was hidden. I'd stormed out into the rain that night, too angry to think clearly, too devastated to drive safely. The impact had been instant. A semi-truck running a red light, hydroplaning on the slick streets. They said I died on impact, never knew what hit me. But somehow, impossibly, I'd woken up 3 days ago in my childhood bedroom, staring at the same calendar that showed March 15th, the day of the scholarship recognition ceremony. The same day Emma was scheduled to receive recognition for her acceptance to the conservatory program. My program. Only this time, I have advantages I didn't have before. This time, I know exactly what she did and how she did it. This time, I have proof she doesn't know exists. And this time, I won't die before I can use it. I slip down the marble staircase, my heels clicking in a deliberate rhythm that makes several heads turn. Good. I want them to notice my entrance. I want Emma to see me coming from across the room, to wonder why I look so confident, so purposeful, so completely different from the broken girl who'd been mourning her rejection for months. The lobby has been transformed into an elegant reception space worthy of the society pages. Round tables draped in Whitmore's signature deep blue circle the room, each adorned with centerpieces of white roses and baby's breath arranged in crystal vases that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. The place cards are written in calligraphy so perfect, it looks machine-generated, and the chairs are covered in cream-colored silk that whispers softly every time someone shifts position. A raised platform near the tall windows serves as the presentation stage, where Dean Morrison and the scholarship committee will soon announce this year's recipients. The podium is draped in Whitmore's colors, and behind it hangs a banner reading, Excellence in Education, recognizing tomorrow's leaders. The irony isn't lost on me. I find Emma near the refreshment table, and I have to admit she looks stunning. She's wearing a cream-colored cocktail dress that complements her auburn hair perfectly, the kind of outfit our mother would have spent weeks shopping for. Her makeup is flawless, subtle but polished, designed to look natural while enhancing every feature. She's chatting with our parents, gesturing animatedly with her hands as she describes something, probably her planned acceptance speech, or her excitement about starting classes next month. Our mother laughs at something Emma says, touching her arm with the kind of maternal pride that makes my chest tighten. Dad stands beside them in his best suit, the one he wears to important client meetings and family weddings, his face glowing with the satisfaction of having raised such an accomplished daughter. They look like the perfect family celebrating their golden child's success. No one looking at them would suspect that the foundation of that success is built on theft and betrayal. Sophie! Emma's face lights up when she sees me approach, though something flickers behind her eyes. A quick calculation, a moment of uncertainty quickly masked by practiced warmth. I'm so glad you made it. I wasn't sure you'd want to come after everything. I know this must be hard after... She lets the sentence trail off delicately, her expression shifting to the practiced sympathy she's perfected over the past 3 months. After my rejection from the conservatory, I finish smoothly, enjoying the way her smile tightens almost imperceptibly. Actually, that's exactly why I'm here. Mom turns to me with the gentle, carefully modulated smile she reserves for my disappointments. The same expression she wore when I didn't make varsity soccer sophomore year, when I lost the student government election junior year, when I thought I'd failed my AP literature exam. Sweetheart, you know how proud we are of you for handling everything so gracefully. State school will be wonderful for you. Different paths, different opportunities. And who knows, maybe you can transfer after your freshman year if you really apply yourself. The condescension in her tone is so familiar, I almost miss it. This is how she's been talking to me for months. Like I'm fragile, like I need to be managed and coddled through my failures. Like I'm the sister who couldn't quite measure up. Absolutely, Dad chimes in, adjusting his tie in the way he does when he's trying to be diplomatic about uncomfortable subjects. Emma's acceptance to the conservatory doesn't diminish your achievements in any way. You're both incredibly talented writers. It's just that competitive programs have to make difficult choices, and sometimes factors beyond pure talent come into play. Emma's smile never wavers, but I catch the slight tightening around her eyes. She recognizes something different in my posture, my tone, my entire demeanor. She knows I'm not here to play the gracious, defeated sister today. The thing is, I say, reaching into my blazer pocket with deliberate slowness, there seems to have been some confusion about my application status. The acceptance letter unfolds with a soft, rustling sound that somehow carries over the ambient chatter of conversations and clinking glasses. The Whitmore seal catches the light, gold embossed on heavy cream paper that feels substantial between my fingers. I hold it at the perfect angle for Emma to see the header, making sure she can read every word. Congratulations, Sophie Chen. The admissions committee is pleased to offer you full academic merit scholarship to the Creative Writing Conservatory, effective fall semester 2024. Emma's face goes very still. For a heartbeat, all the animation drains from her features completely, leaving behind something raw and exposed. This is the moment she realizes that all her careful planning, all her months of deception, are about to unravel. I don't understand, Mom says, reaching for the letter with confusion written across her features. Sophie, where did you get this? From the mail, I reply calmly, watching Emma's face cycle through emotions like a time-lapse video. Funny thing, it was misfiled somehow. Ended up in Emma's room, mixed in with her art supplies and college applications. You know how these things happen. Mail gets shuffled around, important documents end up in the wrong hands. I meet Emma's gaze directly, letting her see that I know exactly what she did. Accidents happen, don't they? The color has drained from Emma's cheeks, but she recovers quickly. She's always been good at thinking on her feet. always been the sister who could talk her way out of trouble or into opportunities. Sophie, that's impossible. You were rejected months ago. I was there, remember? I helped you through the disappointment. We talked for hours about your backup plans, about how state school might actually be better for you in the long run. We did talk, I agree, savoring the memory of those conversations through my new lens of understanding. About how crushed I was, about how I couldn't understand what went wrong with my application, since my grades and test scores were competitive, about how maybe I wasn't cut out for programs like the conservatory after all, how maybe I'd been deluding myself about my writing abilities. I pause, letting the words hang in the air like smoke. You were very comforting during those conversations. Dad frowns, taking the letter from Mom to examine it more closely. His hands shake slightly as he reads, not from age or nerves, but from the growing realization that something is very wrong here. The date on this is February 15th. Sophie, this would have arrived weeks before the enrollment deadline, weeks before you committed to state school. Why didn't you show us this earlier? Because I didn't have it earlier. I keep my voice level, controlled. No accusations yet, just facts presented in logical sequence. I found it yesterday evening, tucked inside Emma's portfolio case, right next to her scholarship application materials and a folder labeled Sophie, Confidential. The silence that follows feels dense as cotton, muffling even the ambient sounds of the reception continuing around us. Conversations and laughter continue at other tables, parents taking photos and students nervously adjusting their formal wear, but our small family circle has become its own isolated bubble of tension. Emma recovers first, as she always does. She's the sister who talked her way out of a speeding ticket sophomore year, who convinced 3 different teachers to extend assignment deadlines, who managed to get accepted off the wait list to her backup schools through sheer force of personality and strategic charm. Sophie, I think you're confused. Maybe upset about the ceremony today? Seeing all these successful students receiving recognition. Her voice carries just the right note of concern, the perfect blend of sisterly love and gentle worry. I know this must be incredibly difficult for you watching me receive something you wanted so badly. But making up stories about hidden letters isn't going to change the situation. I'm not making up stories, I reply evenly. I also found the email printouts. Her composure cracks just slightly. A micro-expression of panic flashes across her features before the mask slides back into place, but I catch it. Mom and Dad catch it too. What email printouts? Mom asks, her voice sharper now, maternal instincts sensing conflict between her daughters. I don't answer immediately. Instead, I watch Emma's face as I say, the ones from the Whitmore admissions office asking why Sophie Chen hadn't responded to her acceptance notification. Multiple emails, actually, with increasing urgency as deadlines approached. The ones explaining that if she didn't confirm her enrollment by March 1st, her spot would be offered to the next candidate on the wait list. Emma's lips part slightly. I can practically see the wheels turning in her head as she calculates how much I know, how much I can prove, how much damage control she needs to do. And then there were the responses. I continue, my voice gaining strength with each revelation. Sent from my email account, declining the offer. Formal letters explaining that Sophie Chen had decided to pursue other opportunities. Except I never sent them. In fact, I never even knew they existed until yesterday. Dad's expression shifts, confusion giving way to something harder, more focused. Emma, what exactly is Sophie talking about? The moment stretches taut as a wire. Emma could deny everything. She could claim I'm lying, that I'm jealous and desperate, creating elaborate fantasies to explain away my failure. She could probably convince them Emma has always been the persuasive one, the daughter who could spin narratives that made people want to believe her, who could make her version of events feel more real than reality itself. But I have more than accusations this time. I have proof. I reach into my other pocket and withdraw my phone. The screen displays a screenshot I took yesterday evening after spending hours combing through Emma's digital footprints. Her laptop browser history showing multiple logins to my email account throughout February and March. Each timestamp corresponds perfectly with messages from the conservatory admissions office, creating an undeniable pattern of systematic deception. Your laptop autosaves passwords. I say conversationally, as if we're discussing the weather or weekend plans. Including mine, apparently. Very convenient for someone who needs to intercept correspondence and decline opportunities on another person's behalf. The proof hangs between us like a blade. Emma stares at the phone screen, and I watch the exact moment she realizes her carefully constructed story is collapsing around her. Her face cycles through emotions: denial, fear, calculation, and finally, a kind of resignation. I can explain, she says quietly, but her voice has lost its confident edge. Please do, Dad says, his voice gone cold in a way I've never heard before. This is the tone he uses with contractors who've missed deadlines or clients who've tried to breach contracts. Professional, controlled, but absolutely unforgiving. But Emma doesn't get the chance to explain because Dean Morrison's voice suddenly fills the lobby through the sound system, amplified and crystal clear through speakers hidden throughout the elegant space. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your seats, we'll begin this year's scholarship recognition ceremony. Perfect timing. I excuse myself politely from my family's shocked silence, leaving them to process the bombshell I've just detonated. My phone buzzes with a text from Dr. Harrison, my former English teacher, and the faculty advisor who helped me craft my original conservatory application. Ready when you are. Platform access confirmed. Committee is aware. I walk toward the ladies' restroom with measured steps, aware that several pairs of eyes are following my movement. The restroom is a study in marble and gold fixtures, the kind of space designed to make visitors feel like they're in a luxury hotel rather than a school building. I lean against the pristine sink and open my purse. The lipstick I chose this morning is deep red, bold as blood, confident as victory. In the mirror, I look like someone who belongs at ceremonies like this, someone who deserves recognition for her work, not someone whose achievements get stolen by family members with flexible ethics and boundary issues. My reflection shows a young woman in a navy blazer and pencil skirt, hairstyled in a way that suggests competence and maturity. I look like someone who could command a room, someone whose words carry weight. It's a far cry from the defeated, confused girl who spent months wondering what she'd done wrong, why her dreams had been crushed, why her writing apparently wasn't good enough for competitive programs. The bathroom door chimes softly as someone else enters. Emma, of course. Sophie, we need to talk. Her voice is strained now, the perfect composure finally showing cracks. Away from Mom and Dad, away from all these people. I cap the lipstick without turning around. I think we're past the talking stage, don't you? You don't understand the pressure I was under, Emma says, stepping closer. Her reflection appears beside mine in the mirror. Same dark hair, same brown eyes, same basic facial structure, but where I look determined, she looks desperate. Mom and Dad had such impossibly high expectations after your early admission to state school. They kept comparing us, asking why I couldn't be more like my accomplished little sister. Do you have any idea what that feels like? I finally turn to face her. No, Emma, I have absolutely no idea what it feels like to have my accomplishments stolen by someone I trusted completely. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, she continues, her voice taking on the pleading tone she used as a child when she'd been caught breaking something valuable. I was going to tell you eventually. After graduation, when the sting wasn't so fresh, when you'd settled into state school and maybe even started to like it there. I thought if I could prove myself at the conservatory, show everyone what I was capable of, then maybe we could work something out. Maybe I could help you transfer or recommend you for their graduate program. Then maybe what? I'd thank you for sabotaging my future? The words come out harder than I intended, but I don't soften them. You are going to fix the problem you created by creating more problems. Emma's composure finally cracks completely. Tears spill over, ruining the carefully applied makeup our mother probably spent an hour helping her perfect. I was desperate, Sophie. I couldn't stand being the mediocre sister anymore. The one who was good at everything but great at nothing. The one who teachers remembered because of you. Who college counselors mentioned in the same breath as your achievements. Just once, I wanted to be the one everyone celebrated. For a moment, looking at Emma's tear-streaked face, I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. I remember the sister who taught me to ride a bike, who helped me with math homework when I was struggling in middle school, who drove me to writing workshops when our parents were too busy. but those memories feel like they belong to someone else's life now. You know what the really sick part is? I ask, my voice quiet but steady. You could have been that person honestly. You could have applied for transfer admission next year after strengthening your portfolio. You could have worked with a writing tutor to improve your essays. You could have asked me to help you. I would have done it gladly. Instead, you chose to destroy my opportunity to create one for yourself. I'm sorry, Emma whispers, mascara leaving dark tracks down her cheeks. I'm so sorry. But it's too late now, isn't it? The ceremony is about to start. The committee has already made their announcements. I can't just. Actually, you're wrong about that. I check my phone. Another text from Dr. Harrison. Platform is yours. Documentation submitted. Emma's eyes widen as understanding dawns. Sophie, what did you do? I walk past her toward the door, pausing only to look back over my shoulder. What I should have done 3 months ago. What I would have done if I hadn't died first. Her face goes white. What do you mean if you hadn't died? But I'm already pushing through the door, leaving her with questions I'm not ready to answer. Some things are too strange for sisters who steal futures from each other. The lobby has filled with the expectant energy of an audience settling into their seats. I find my parents at table 12, their faces still shell-shocked from our earlier conversation. The evidence I presented has clearly shaken them. Dad keeps looking at his phone as if checking the time, while Mom twists her wedding ring in the way she does when she's processing difficult information. Emma hurries to join them, but I don't follow. Instead, I walk toward the platform where Dean Morrison is adjusting his microphone and shuffling through note cards. Excuse me, Dean Morrison? He turns, recognizing me immediately. We'd met during my campus visit last fall when I'd interviewed for the scholarship program. He's exactly as I remembered. Silver-haired, distinguished, with the kind of presence that commands respect without demanding it. Sophie Chen, Dr. Harrison said you might be stopping by today. His expression is carefully neutral, but there's something in his eyes that suggests he knows exactly why I'm here. I have some information about the Creative Writing Conservatory scholarships that I believe the committee should hear. Dean Morrison glances out at the assembled audience, probably 200 people in formal wear, all expecting a routine celebration of academic achievement, then back at me. This is highly irregular, Miss Chen. So is academic fraud, I reply calmly. His eyebrows rise. I see. Dr. Harrison mentioned there might be some complications regarding this year's scholarship awards. She also mentioned you had documentation to support some serious allegations. He pauses, studying my face. Are you prepared to present that evidence publicly? I am. Very well, perhaps you should join me on the platform. As we walk toward the podium together, I'm aware of the ripple of curiosity that moves through the audience. This isn't part of the program they were expecting. Parents lean toward each other, whispering questions. Students pull out their phones, sensing something newsworthy about to happen. Dean Morrison steps up to the microphone as I take my place beside him, my hands steady despite the magnitude of what I'm about to do. The audience quiets, all attention focused on the stage. I spot Emma at table 12, her face pale as moonlight, our parents flanking her like bookends. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Morrison begins, his voice carrying the authority of decades in academic administration. Before we announce this year's scholarship recipients, we need to address an unusual situation that has come to our attention. A murmur runs through the crowd like wind through wheat. At table 12, I see Dad reach for Mom's hand, both of them staring up at the platform with expressions of growing dread. It appears there was some significant confusion regarding one of our merit scholarship awards. Through an investigation prompted by new evidence brought to our attention yesterday, we've discovered that one of our accepted students may not have been properly notified of her admission status due to what appears to be deliberate interference with official correspondence. The murmuring grows louder. Parents exchange glances. Students lean forward in their seats. Faculty members who weren't part of the initial investigation look confused and concerned. Dean Morrison raises his hand for silence, and the room complies immediately. Sophie Chen, would you please share with our community what you've discovered? I step to the microphone, my heart pounding but my voice steady. This is it, the moment I reclaim my future and expose the truth that's been hidden for months. Thank you, Dean Morrison. 3 months ago, I applied for full academic merit scholarship to Whitmore's Creative Writing Conservatory. I submitted my application in December, complete with writing samples, academic transcripts, and letters of recommendation from faculty at my high school. I paused, letting my eyes sweep across the audience. Every face is focused on me now, the entire room hanging on my words. I never received a response to that application. For months, I assumed I had been rejected. I enrolled at state school, convinced that my writing wasn't strong enough for a competitive program like the conservatory. I spent weeks analyzing every aspect of my application, wondering what I could have done differently, why my work hadn't measured up. Another pause. In the audience, I can see people leaning forward, drawn into the story despite themselves. Yesterday evening, I discovered the truth. My acceptance letter, along with full academic merit scholarship documentation, had been hidden in my sister's belongings. Along with that letter, I found evidence that someone had been systematically accessing my email account to decline offers and correspondence from your admissions office. The gasp that runs through the audience sounds like a collective intake of breath. I see heads turning toward table 12, where Emma sits frozen in her chair like a deer caught in headlights. Emma Chen, currently enrolled as this year's Conservatory Merit Scholar, is my sister. The silence that follows is profound. I can hear the heating system cycling on, the distant sound of traffic outside, someone's chair creaking as they shift position. It's the kind of silence that fills spaces when people are processing information too shocking to immediately believe. Dean Morrison takes the microphone back, his expression grave. Given the serious nature of these allegations, the scholarship committee conducted an emergency review yesterday evening and this morning. We've examined the digital evidence provided by Sophie Chen, including browser histories, email server logs, and the complete timeline of communications from our admissions office. He pauses, the weight of institutional authority settling over the room like a blanket. The committee has also reviewed both sisters' application materials, writing samples, and academic records. Our investigation has determined that Sophie Chen was indeed awarded full academic merit scholarship to the Creative Writing Conservatory based solely on the strength of her application and creative portfolio. This award was improperly transferred due to what can only be described as deliberate, systematic interference with official correspondence. Another pause. Emma has risen from her chair, her face a mask of humiliation and panic. Several people have their phones out now, no doubt recording or live tweeting what's quickly becoming the most dramatic scholarship ceremony in Whitmore history. Effective immediately, Sophie Chen's original scholarship offer is restored. Emma Chen's provisional acceptance is revoked pending a full investigation into these irregularities by our Office of Academic Integrity. The room erupts, not in celebration. This is too shocking, too unprecedented for that, but in a chaos of whispered conversations, shocked exclamations, and the clicking of phone cameras. I see parents leaning toward each other, trying to process what they've just witnessed. Students are pulling up social media apps, already crafting posts about the scholarship scandal. Faculty members exchange meaningful looks across the room. At table 12, Emma pushes back her chair and flees toward the exit, moving as fast as her heels will allow on the marble floor. Mom starts to follow her, maternal instincts overriding everything else. But Dad catches her arm and shakes his head. They need to stay and face this, not chase after the daughter who created the mess. Dean Morrison continues speaking, something about the importance of academic integrity and the rigorous standards Whitmore maintains for all its programs. But I'm no longer fully listening. My attention is caught by movement near the lobby entrance, where double doors are opening to admit what looks like a small procession. Dr. Harrison appears first, her face bright with vindication and pride. Behind her, I recognize Professor Martinez from the English department, Professor Wang from Creative Writing, and Dean Foster from Student Affairs. They're carrying something between them, a banner made of deep blue fabric with gold lettering that reads, "Welcome to Whitmore, Sophie Chen." Behind the faculty procession, I see several students I recognize from the school newspaper and yearbook committee. They're carrying cameras and recording equipment, but their expressions aren't the predatory looks of journalists smelling scandal. Instead, they're grinning like they've just witnessed justice served on a silver platter. "Sophie," Dean Morrison says, drawing my attention back to the platform. "On behalf of Whitmore Academy and the Creative Writing Conservatory, I'd like to officially welcome you to our community. The faculty procession enters the main seating area, the banner stretched between Dr. Harrison and Professor Martinez. Camera flashes pop as the student journalists document what they're probably already planning to call the Great Scholarship Restoration, or something equally dramatic. But as I watch the banner approach the platform, I realize this isn't scandal coverage. It's celebration. Dr. Harrison is practically beaming. Professor Martinez is clapping enthusiastically. The students holding cameras are treating this like a victory lap rather than a public humiliation. This is highly unprecedented, Dean Morrison murmurs to me as the procession reaches the foot of the platform. But then again, so is this entire situation. I hope you'll forgive us for the theatrical touch, Dr. Harrison insisted. I step back to the microphone as the room gradually quiets, waiting to hear what I'll say next. The banner is now displayed prominently in front of the platform, visible to everyone in the room. I want to thank Dean Morrison and the Scholarship Committee for their thorough investigation and their commitment to academic integrity. I begin. I also want to thank Dr. Harrison for believing in my work from the beginning and for helping me navigate this incredibly difficult situation. I pause, looking out over the audience. My parents are still at table 12, Mom dabbing at her eyes with a tissue while Dad sits rigidly upright with his jaw clenched. They look like they've aged 5 years in the past hour. Writing has always been my passion. From the time I could hold a pencil, I've been creating stories, crafting essays, exploring the power of language to capture human experience. The opportunity to study at Whitmore's Conservatory represents not just years of academic work, but countless hours spent alone at my desk, wrestling with words and ideas, pushing myself to grow as both a writer and a thinker. Another pause. The banner sways slightly in the air conditioning, gold letters catching the light. When I thought that opportunity had been taken from me, I felt like I'd lost not just an educational path, but a fundamental part of my identity. I questioned everything, my abilities, my instincts, my understanding of my own strengths. That kind of self-doubt can be devastating to a young writer. The room is completely silent now. Even the staff members who've been clearing tables in the background have stopped to listen. But I've learned something important today. The truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it's buried or how carefully it's hidden. And talent, real talent, can't be stolen. It can only be recognized or ignored, supported or suppressed. I step away from the microphone and down from the platform. Dr. Harrison meets me at the bottom of the steps, her eyes bright with tears she's trying not to shed. I knew your writing was too strong to have been rejected, she says, pulling me into a quick hug that smells of her familiar vanilla perfume. When the committee told me about your decline letter, something felt wrong. Your voice, your technical skill, your unique perspective, none of it made sense with a rejection. I'm so proud of you for fighting for yourself. The student journalists cluster around us, but their questions are respectful, celebratory rather than invasive. They're treating this as a victory story, a case of merit finally being recognized rather than a family scandal to be exploited. Sophie, how does it feel to finally get the recognition you deserve? Asks Maya Santos, a girl with a press badge that identifies her as editor-in-chief of the Whitmore Review. Honestly, it feels like coming home, I reply, surprised by how much I mean it. Whitmore has always been my dream school. The faculty here, the writing program, the entire academic community, it represents everything I hope to become as a writer. More questions follow. They want to know about my writing process, my favorite authors, my plans for the conservatory program. For the first time in months, I find myself talking about my work with enthusiasm rather than apology, describing projects and ambitions rather than failures and disappointments. But the interview is interrupted by a commotion near the exit. Emma has returned, flanked by our parents. She's composed herself somewhat. The tears are gone, the makeup repaired as much as possible, but she moves with the careful control of someone barely holding themselves together. The crowd parts as she walks toward me, conversations dying away until the lobby falls silent again. This is the moment everyone has been waiting for, the confrontation between the sisters at the center of the scandal. Sophie, Emma says when she reaches me. Her voice is steady, but I can see the tremendous effort it costs her. Every word seems carefully weighed, precisely calculated. I owe you an apology. A real one, not the excuses and justifications I offered earlier. I wait, aware that hundreds of people are watching, listening, probably recording. Around us, the elegant reception continues in suspended animation. What I did was inexcusable, Emma continues, her voice carrying clearly across the silent room. I was jealous of your talent, your success, your easy relationships with teachers and fellow students. When your acceptance letter arrived, I convinced myself that I deserved the opportunity more because I'd worked harder for it, because I needed it more to prove myself. She takes a shaky breath, her composure wavering but holding. But that was never true. You earned this scholarship through your own merit, your own dedication, your own exceptional abilities. Your writing speaks for itself. It always has. I stole your achievement because I couldn't create my own, and that says everything about my character and nothing about your worth. Emma's eyes fill with tears again, but she continues, her voice growing stronger rather than weaker. I know I've destroyed your trust, but probably forever. I know I've humiliated our family and embarrassed myself beyond redemption. But I want everyone here to know that Sophie Chen is one of the most gifted writers I've ever encountered. Her acceptance to this program isn't a favor or a correction. It's recognition of talent that was always there, always deserving of acknowledgement. The silence stretches for several heartbeats. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, someone starts clapping. Others join in until the entire lobby fills with applause. Not for Emma's apology necessarily, but for what it represents. Acknowledgement of truth, acceptance of responsibility, and the restoration of justice. I look at Emma's tear-streaked face, at my parents standing uncertainly behind her, at the crowd of strangers who have witnessed this entire surreal afternoon unfold. Thank you, I say simply. It's not forgiveness, that will take time if it comes at all, but it's acknowledgement of her courage to admit the truth publicly, to accept responsibility rather than continue deflecting blame. Emma nods, understanding exactly what I'm offering and what I'm not. She turns and walks back toward our parents, who wrap her in embraces that are equal parts comfort and disappointment. They have their own processing to do, their own recalibrations of family dynamics and parental assumptions. Dean Morrison approaches with an official-looking folder bound in Whitmore's signature deep blue leather. Sophie, these are your enrollment materials. Classes begin Monday morning. I've arranged for you to meet with Professor Chen, no relation, I assume, tomorrow afternoon to discuss your course schedule and academic planning. I take the folder, heavy with official documents, course catalogs, and the weight of a future I'd thought was lost forever. Thank you, Dean Morrison. I'll be there. As the reception begins to wind down, people start approaching me in small groups. Some offer congratulations. Others ask about my writing and future plans. A few want to know more about the conservatory program. I find myself relaxing into conversations about literature and creative process, the kind of discussions I dreamed of having with fellow writers and dedicated faculty. An elderly woman with silver hair and sharp, intelligent eyes introduces herself as Professor Emerita Chen, apparently no relation to the Professor Chen I'll be meeting tomorrow. She taught creative writing at Whitmore for 37 years before retiring. I've read your application essays, she says, her voice carrying the authority of decades spent evaluating student work. Your piece on inherited trauma and family secrets was particularly compelling. Have you considered exploring that theme further in your coursework? The conversation that follows is exactly what I'd imagined when I first dreamed of attending Whitmore: substantive, challenging, inspiring. Professor Chen recommends authors I should read, suggests theoretical frameworks that might inform my work, asks thoughtful questions about my artistic influences and aspirations. Dr. Harrison appears at my elbow with a glass of sparkling cider and a satisfied smile. So, what's your first official project going to be as a conservatory student? I consider the question, looking around the lobby at the dispersing crowd, at the banner still displayed prominently near the platform, at my family huddled in quiet conversation near the exit. I think, I say slowly, I'm going to write about truth. About how it persists even when it's suppressed, how it surfaces when you least expect it, how it demands acknowledgement even when acknowledgement is painful. Sounds like you've already got your material, Dr. Harrison observes with a knowing smile. More than enough, I agree. As the afternoon shadows lengthen across the marble floor, painting geometric patterns that shift and change with the moving sun, I find myself standing near the tall, Gothic windows with my enrollment folder tucked under my arm. The lobby has nearly emptied now, just a few clusters of people finishing their conversations and collecting their coats and purses. My phone buzzes with notifications, texts from high school friends who've seen social media posts about the ceremony, messages from former teachers expressing support and congratulations, even a few friend requests from Whitmore students who want to welcome me to the community. But there's one message that makes me pause. Saw the coverage online. Congratulations on your scholarship and your courage. Looking forward to reading your work someday. Noah Martinez, Whitmore class of 2019. I stare at the message for a moment, then delete it without responding. Some stories don't need epilogues, and some connections don't need to be made. Through the tall windows, I can see the Whitmore campus stretching out in the golden afternoon light. Brick buildings with ivy-covered walls, tree-lined walkways where students carry books and laptops, the kind of academic community I dreamed of joining since middle school. Tomorrow morning, I'll walk those paths as a scholarship student. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll sit in Professor Chen's office discussing my academic future. Tomorrow evening, I'll start reading the syllabi for courses I'd thought I'd lost forever. But today, I stand in the lobby where justice was served, holding the folder that represents my reclaimed future, wearing the red lipstick that gave me courage, and feeling the deep satisfaction of truth, finally told and acknowledged. My parents approach hesitantly, Emma nowhere in sight. She's probably waiting in the car, processing her own complicated emotions about exposure, consequences, and the sister she underestimated. Sophie, Mom begins, her voice uncertain in a way I've never heard before. We don't know what to say. We're proud of you, of course, we always have been. But we're also horrified that Emma would do something like this, that we didn't see the signs. We failed you, Dad adds, his voice heavy with regret. We should have questioned the rejection more thoroughly. We should have trusted your abilities, your work ethic, your character. We should have known something was wrong when a student of your caliber was supposedly rejected from a program that should have been competing for you. You should have, I agree, not softening the words, but not making them cruel either. But that's a conversation for another day, when we've all had time to process what happened here. Dad nods heavily. Whatever you need, time, space, family counseling, anything. We want to rebuild your trust, earn back your respect. What Emma did doesn't excuse our failures as your parents. They leave first, walking out into the afternoon sunlight with the weight of family reconfiguration ahead of them. Emma is indeed waiting by their car, her posture small and defeated. She looks up when they approach, and for a moment, I see not the sister who stole my future, but the girl who taught me to braid friendship bracelets and helped me practice my lines for school plays. The complexity of family relationships doesn't disappear just because justice has been served. I watch them drive away, then turn back to the nearly empty lobby. The banner has been taken down, but I can still see where it hung. The ghost image of recognition finally received and properly given. Maya Santos approaches one more time, her press badge glinting in the afternoon light. Sophie, I'd love to do a follow-up feature next week if you're interested. Something about your plans for the conservatory, your writing process, your perspective on academic integrity. But I promise we'll focus on your future, not the family drama. I'd like that, I reply. And thank you for covering this story with dignity. It could have been sensationalized. Truth is dramatic enough without artificial enhancement, she says, echoing something my journalism teacher used to say. Congratulations again. What you did today took incredible courage. As she leaves, I'm finally alone in the lobby, except for a few maintenance workers beginning to break down tables and collect tablecloths. The late afternoon light slants through the tall windows at increasingly acute angles, painting everything in shades of gold and amber that will deepen to orange and red before giving way to twilight. In a few hours, the space will be dark, empty, waiting for Monday morning's regular school activities. But I'll remember it exactly like this. Flooded with golden light, filled with the echoes of truth finally spoken, the site where a stolen future was reclaimed and a new chapter began. I walk toward the exit, my heels clicking against the marble in a steady rhythm that sounds like confidence, like determination, like someone who knows exactly where she's going and why she deserves to get there. At the threshold, I pause and look back one more time at the platform where I stood and spoke my truth. at the space where justice was served and talent was finally recognized. The folder under my arm contains course schedules, dormitory assignments, library access codes, and all the practical details of beginning my education at Whitmore. But it also contains something more valuable, proof that I fought for myself, that I refused to accept a diminished future based on someone else's lies. Then, I step out into the golden afternoon, enrollment folder in hand, ready to claim the life I've earned and the future I deserve. The scholarship ceremony is over, but the real education, about writing, about integrity, about standing up for truth, even when it's difficult, is just beginning. My phone buzzes with one more message, this one from Dr. Harrison. Welcome home, Sophie. Can't wait to see what you create, neither can I.